Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. How are you all doing? Today I'm going to finally react to the second part of The Fourth Wing. I did talk about it in other Stephanie Sue videos that I did, that I really want her to do the second video of The Fourth Wing because I really like the first one, and I actually did started reading the book because of it, but I left it in the middle. I do have some more information than what Stephanie said in the last video because I read some of it after that. But still, her way of saying is completely different. So without further ado, let's get into the video. In 3, 2, 1. I'm excited.
Well,
A bada bing bada bam.
welcome to this week's Bacon and Mystery, Bacon and Murder episode. Listen, we did take a 2-week hiatus. I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but however, I don't know what happened to
did
me
notice.
precisely, but my immunity decided to exit my body, whether it was through my crack, whether it was through my mouth, I'm not exactly sure, but for 2 weeks, every little thing was just knocking me out. I would eat rice water, knocked me out. I was so sick for 2 weeks
You
straight.
would
This house
eat
could have been
rice water?
ablaze and I would not have noticed. There could have been a dragon laying in bed. There was a dragon laying in bed. I'm just kidding. And I wouldn't have even noticed. That's how sick I was. But we're back with the BAMs, and I'm going to hit you guys with the next 3 parts of Fourth Ring, written by Rebecca Yarros, in the next 3 weeks. Literally once a week, and it's going to be long episodes. So get ready. If you guys don't know, I already did part 1 that I'm going to link below, but it is a romantasy novel that was sold out everywhere because of how good it is. So let's
is
just
good.
get started. I'm going to give you a refresher, a recap. In this world,
I'm sorry, there was a call came and I was recording. I'm recording in my phone, so I had to stop the video for a while. But let's continue.
just get started. I'm going to give you a refresher, a recap.
Please
In
do.
this world of Fourth Wing, there are 2 kingdoms. The kingdom of Navarre and the other one. I think it's called Promiel or something. Navarre has been in a 400-year war with the other kingdom who wishes to drain Navarre of all of their resources. So almost all the new civilians, when they reach a certain age, they either have to A, go into the army, which is basically a death sentence, or pass a test and get into the Basquiat War College. Violet, our main character, knew from day 1 that she was going to be at Basquiat because her mom is the headmaster there. But also, her mom is one of the most powerful generals in all of the kingdom. Her family is actually quite famous, the Sorengales. Violet's dad, who is now dead, bless his heart, he was a super famous scribe, which is like an academic record keeper in
Yeah,
this
I know what
world.
scribe
Violet's
is.
mom, Lilith, is obviously one of the most powerful people, like I said, but Violet also has 2 legendary older siblings. They were both at the Basquiat War College, then they literally went to war, and they're both dragon riders. Her sister Mira is one of the top riders right now. Meanwhile, Violet's brother Brennan was killed. He's dead. He was killed in a rebellion,
Don't
but
say
he
it
was
like
one of the
that.
best riders as well. So while they were at war, a group within Navarre wanted to separate and become their own kingdom. They're called separatists. Something like that, okay? So Violet's mom hunted them down and had them all executed, including the leader of the rebellion, Fen Ryerson. All the adult rebels knocked out, killed, and their children were marked with the rebel tattoo. They were treated like normal civilians according to the laws, but you're marking them. They have this relic tattoo that goes up their sleeve, and some of them have even more that goes up to their neck. And you're saying, no. We want you to live in our society like a regular person. But you're branded, so everybody knows that your parents were fucking traitors.
Is it like a sleeve tattoo?
Yeah, it's kind of hot. It's kind of hot, you know what I mean?
Bad boys?
Yeah, they're the bad ones, and they're hot. So they're marked, and they all get forced into the Basquiat War College, where all of the students have to choose between 4 quadrants. Can I say something about this?
I don't know if you can hear it. There is a little scream going outside. I don't know why that baby's screaming so much.
Though, I will say this is heavy on the romance, light on the fantasy. So if you're someone who's really into a solid world build
I like
with
the
no
balance.
plot holes, none of that, this might not be your favorite series. However, it is quite enjoyable. So 4 quadrants that you go into. You can either go into infantry, which is strategic army fighting, the healers quadrant, which, you guessed it, you heal, or the scribes, the academics, the record keepers, or you can go into the riders. That sounds like I'm saying riders, like you're writing something, but no,
Yeah,
they're like
it
riding
did.
a dragon. They're the
It
dragon.
did. At the start, I thought that she's saying writers, and then I was like, okay, no, she's saying riders. Because
Riders.
I know the
But if you
context.
join the riders, it's basically a death wish. The dragons are very temperamental and they only bond with humans because they need to both protect Navarre since the dragon's dens are in Navarre. That's where they're birthing children in the valley of, I think, Vale. But other than that, dragons hate humans, especially ones that they have not bonded with. They barely tolerate their riders. And every day the cadets have to prove that they have what it takes to become a rider, which is very difficult to do. All of Violet's family were riders except for her dad, and she trained her whole life to be a scribe just like her dad. But once he plopped dead, her mom was like, yeah, no, change of plans, you're gonna be a fucking writer. She's this,
Do writers look down on scribes?
some of them do. Now she's this tiny, petite, super smart, but somehow also surprisingly super strong, super hot main character fantasy novel all the way vibes. She's got this medical condition called never will I ever die syndrome. So, okay, that tells you everything you need to know. She will never die, even against all odds. So there's that. And now she's joined the
Obviously,
writers
she's the main
quadrant, and her
character.
childhood best friend / love interest, Dane, has become her squad leader, and her wing leader is Zayden Ryerson. Does that name ring a bell? It's the son of the guy who led the rebellion, the Great Betrayer.
You gotta tell us the ranking again.
Yes, so there's 4 wings, and then within each wing, there's 4 sections, and then within each section, there's like a bunch of different squads. So she's in a squad. Then it goes into a section, then the wing. So
Who's
there's
the love? Okay.
her love interest, Dane,
Yes.
is her squad leader.
Squad
So-
is like tiny, teeny. Like,
yeah, he's the lowest
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
leaders. And then above him, there's 4 section leaders. And then above them is 1 wing leader, and there's only 4 wing leaders total.
Yeah, so the bad boy is the wing leader, and her
Oh, yeah.
love interest is only a squad leader.
What a loser.
Squad is only like what, 8 people?
Underwater,
say that.
squat, 9 people.
9 people?
9
yeah.
people. Yeah, so anyway, the son of the Great Betrayer is her wing leader, and this is the man that led the rebellion. But also, this is the man that Violet's mom had executed. So they got beef from day one. She's in his wing, the 4th wing. But she also has to avoid him so that he doesn't kill her, and this is just not gonna go well. Oh, and everybody in the Writers Quadrant wants to kill Violet for the sheer fact that she's, 1, great at pissing people off, and she's a Sorengale. To take someone down as strong as a Sorengale, your name will be remembered forever.
But then the mom would just kill you.
No, because there are no rules against killing each other in the Writers Quadrant.
Yeah, then there's also no rule if
Yeah,
I want a
well-
revenge for my daughter.
The thing is, her mom doesn't
Yeah,
really love her
her
like that.
mom.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
They don't
alright.
have a
I
good
don't know.
relationship.
So with that being said, let's get started. Okay,
She's more,
welcome.
Her mom is more of like a rule person, so she's cold.
to Battle Brief class. This is the only class that all of the writers have to take every single day. It's the only class that really freaking matters because if they get drafted, because remind you, there is a war going on. They could at any moment be like, hey, can all the cadets can come and ride a dragon and kill the other side because we need manpower. They could get drafted at any moment. If suddenly there's an attack, they're going to the front lines. Now, Violet walks into this massive lecture hall, and it's big enough to fit every single cadet. It's basically a giant auditorium with tiered seating, and
no, no,
Professor
no.
De Vera will be leading the daily battle briefs. She's a captain in the Navarre military, and she's got this bright purple bob hair. And so you would think, okay, Slay, so she's gonna be the fun No, she's not the joking kind. She just waits, staring at all the students to walk in and take their seats on the rock-hard wooden seats. And behind her is this giant 20-foot map of the continent, and it's probably the most intricate map most of the cadets have ever seen in their lives. Not Violet, though, because remember, she's the daughter of one of the highest in command for the military. Anyway, the map looks
And
like
also
a
her father
military
is a
strategy
scribe,
map.
so
There's a bunch
she
of pins
definitely has
tacked
seen
along to
much.
show where the defense posts are located, where the enemies are likely laying in wait. Suddenly, everything feels so much more real in this room. When the giant hall is filled entirely with the students, Professor De Vera clears her throat. It is unlikely that you will be called into service before graduating. We expect that you will have all the tools necessary when it's your time to defend Navarre. Fight for Navarre. By then, you will understand the politics of our enemies, the strategies we employ to ward off constant attack. If that is not something that your mind can handle, then you have no right to be riding on the back of a dragon. The whole auditorium is silent like lady. We just woke up, okay? This is a lot. But if you do, if you are called, this class will matter. Everything you will learn will be important. Professor De Vera looks straight at Violet, and Violet can tell she recognizes her as a Soren Gale, so that's great. But she just gives her a curt nod and moves on. This class will be taught by myself and Professor Markham. A man gets up and walks up next to Professor De Vera. Nobody claps. It's not that type of class, okay? But as Professor Markham joins Professor D's side, she turns to him and whispers something in his ear, and he whips his head around, stares directly at Violet, and for what feels like 15 seconds in silence in front of everybody, they just stare at each other. But unlike Professor D, he does not smile. He just keeps staring at her. He looks disappointed. So Professor Markham is actually from the Scribe Quadrant, and Violet was supposed to be his star student. She grew up under him with her dad. And he was so excited, and he just found out that she did not join the Scribes. She joined the Writers Quadrant, and probably not because she wanted to, and she's probably gonna die. So it's basically a moment of silence for her death, her impending future doom funeral.
But
Yeah.
he likes her though.
He likes her.
He does.
Professor Markham finally breaks his intense stare, and he clears his throat. It is on the scribes to master the past, to understand the information. Only then can we record the present events and relay information about the future. Everyone in the auditorium is still dead silent. Professor D walks over to the map, and she closes her fist once. And very elegantly, one of the floating lights in the room, they're just like floating light orbs, starts coming towards her. There was an attack last night at the eastern wing. The village of Chikir was ambushed by griffins and riders from Bravey. The Bravey, I'm assuming, are a group of the enemy kingdom Promiel that's at war with Navarre. But this is a big freaking deal. They're attacking civilian villages right now. Naturally, we cannot tell you everything that has taken place since this is an ongoing matter.
Are you tired of Googling every other English word when reading?
No.
Let's change that. Meet
Security purposes, of course. But what we can say is that our protection spells, our protection wards, have faltered along the top of the Espen Mountains, allowing their group to enter Navarian territory. So remember how the dragons bond with humans. They essentially have a contract. The magic that humans and dragons have when they bond creates this protection spell around Navarre. But they just fucking broke that shit. Or at least a little part of it. Like, you know how in Harry Potter they do the protection spell around the
Yeah.
school, and then you can break a part of it and enter, but like the whole thing's not broken, but it's a whole
Yeah.
thing, okay? And that is what just happened.
Like very alarming.
Very, very alarming. And griffins, I don't know how they're pronounced. There's a lot of words in this one, okay? Griffins are half eagle, half lion-like creatures.
I know it because of Gryffindor. Okay.
They're not as large as many dragons. They're maybe like 7 feet tall. They've got these massive long beaks like an eagle. But imagine that, an eagle's face on a lion's body, paws and everything. In lion's mane and everything. Eagle face
Talons
and then
and
eagle
paws.
wings. All in 7 feet tall. They're terrifying. They're not quite as powerful as dragons, but deadly. They're incredibly deadly. All of the cadets are either staring down at the floor or they're shaking their heads because, I mean, this is the first attack in 400 years during the war that Promiel has been able to get into Navarre. This is a big deal. 37 civilians were killed in the attack. The Eastern Wing riders arrived about an hour later and pushed the Promiels out. But we are not telling you this to ruin your day. Based on the information provided to you, class, what kinds of questions would you ask on the front lines? First years, ask me some questions. Violet wants to ask how the hell the protection wards failed, but she knows she's not going to get an answer for something like that. That's considered high security clearance. The type of information that her mom wouldn't even tell her. So Violet turns to the map and she starts studying. The Espen Mountains are the highest point of the eastern border, but Gryphons can't fly that high. I mean, like I said, they got the body of a lion, and aerodynamically speaking, they're not the best at high altitude flying like dragons are. Come on, first years, you must have some critical thinking skills. Anybody have a question? One of the first years asked the question that everybody was too scared to ask. Is this the first time our wards have failed? No. Everyone in the class goes quiet because they didn't know this information. Okay? Dead quiet. Well, how often do they... That's above your pay grade, cadet. Next question.
Okay.
Bro, you told me to ask questions. How are you gonna solve my question?
Another first year blurts out. How many in the Eastern Wing died? 1 injured dragon, 1 dead rider. Why do you ask? AKA, are you scared to die first year? Because if that's the case, this isn't the quadrant for you. There's a reason riders have the lowest lifespans in all the military forces.
But you told me to ask questions. I did what you were asked. And now you're dissing me. Why?
Taking this personally.
Yeah, because she's weird.
In the first year, it's like, oh, I was just trying to see if they needed reinforcements from the other wings. Violet turns to Rhiannon, which is, remember, her only friend in the whole place. Remember, Violet saved her on the bridge because they traded shoes with each other. They're besties, and they better not freaking kill each other. Violet turns to Rhiannon. Ask what altitude the village was at. What? Hurry, just ask. The village, what altitude was it? Professor D looks impressed, but Professor Markham answers the question. A little less than 10,000 feet. Why do you ask? Just seemed a little high for a planned attack with Gryphons. Professor D smiles. It is a little high. Violet Sorengale, why don't you tell me why that's a problem? And maybe next time you can even ask your own questions. Every head whips in their direction. If they didn't know that she was a Sorengale till now everybody in the whole quadrant knows, okay?
Okay.
It's an illogical attack. Griffins are weak in that high altitude, meaning that they would have only attacked if they knew the protection wards would fail. And the village is about an hour's flight away from our nearest outpost. Why would they attack a random village? Professor D suppresses a smile. Keep going with that train of thought. Wait, you said it took an hour for the riders to arrive? Our riders? I did say that, which means they were already on their way. The minute that she says it, she realizes how dumb she sounds. Jack Barlow, the guy that's out to kill her, not because her mom killed and executed his rebel dad. No, that's why Xaden wants to kill her. Jack Barlow is just upset that he's not Jack Harlow, and for that very reason, he's fucking homicidal. I don't know, he just wants to kill everybody. I don't get it. Jack starts openly
he just
fucking
wants to
laughing at
kill
her in front of the
Warnet.
whole class. Dumbass, how the hell would anyone know that it's happening? Even General Melgrim knows the outcome of battles before it happens, but he doesn't know when it's gonna happen, you stupid bitch. God help us all if this one gets on the back of a dragon. But Violet ignores him. She's embarrassed. This makes the most sense, okay? So Professor Markham urges her to continue, though. There is no logical way that they arrived at the village. Our riders arrived within an hour unless they were already heading there. It just doesn't make sense. It would take at least 30 minutes to call for help, and no full-speed squad is just waiting, sitting around in the middle of the night. Unless they somehow knew the wards were breaking? Jack scoffs. That is the most dumb-ass... That is correct. One of the dragons in the wings sensed the protection wards breaking. The wings were already on the way to the village, and had they not sensed it, the casualties would have been exponentially higher. After that line of questioning, Violet feels a little bit more confident, okay? The other years, the second years, the third years are called on to ask questions. What was the condition of the village? The voice makes Violet almost jump in her seat, okay? Xaden Ryerson. Was the village destroyed? In that case, that means that they weren't trying to establish their own base within Navarre. If they destroyed the village, that means that they have a different motive for the attack. The way that the village was left tells us a lot about the motive. The two professors, they nod in approval. Many buildings had been gone through and were being burned and looted. Then they were looking for something. And it isn't resources. That's not in the gem mining district, which, what do we have there that they want so badly? Professor De Vera nods. That is the question here, isn't it? And that is why you are a wing leader, Ryerson. You need more than just brute strength to be a good rider. You need to think, class. A first year is squirming in their seat. So what's the answer? What do we have there in that village? We don't know. We don't know? Okay, that's the answer Violet is thinking about when she's standing on the sidelines of the sparring mat after lunch, and Rhiannon is standing next to her, and they're half watching the two cadets on the mat, trying to basically kill each other at this point, half stressing because they're next and they don't know who they're gonna be paired with, but also, what the hell happened in that village? Violet is a little bit nervous. Okay, she's probably the most nervous out of that group, and it's not helping that Jack is staring at her from 3 mats away, ready to spar her. Rhiannon tries to reassure her. You're a Sorengale. You're gonna be a hand-to-hand combat threat. Oh, no,
No.
not exactly. I was training to be a scribe, remember? At that exact moment, a tooth goes flying and a professor shouts, "Enough!" Rhiannon turns to Violet. "Let's make a trade. You help me with history and I will teach you hand-to-hand combat. Yeah?" Violet nods because now she's got two besties in the squad. She's got Rhiannon and Sawyer. Sawyer is the cadet that didn't get picked by a dragon last year, so he's risking his life all over again and going through it the second time. Yeah, it's a cute little moment that's broken up by a
I remember him.
crunching noise. It echoes through the massive gym that's got windows on all four sides. It kind of gives me Divergent. The 20 mats are lined up next to each other and they whip their heads around. The first year that Jack Barlow is sparring is limp in his arms. Jack smirks, he releases his grip, and the kid flops to the ground in a very unnatural pose. How was I supposed to know that his neck was so weak?
He
killed him?
Jack killed someone?
He did.
Wow.
No.
Violet is sweating, but the professor points at her. Then he points at another girl with the rebellion tattoo up her arm. She's got bright pink hair and a smirk that you 1000% cannot punch off her freaking face, okay? You and you on the mat, go. Violet is fucked. The girl looks ripped. She's also a foot taller than her, so that's great. They get onto the mat. Sorengale, huh? The way she says Violet's last name, she is not a fan. That's for sure, okay? She's not a fan girly. The silver hair gave it away. The battle class confirmed it. If you were smart, you would have dyed your hair. Silver-haired freak. Why would I hide who my mother is? I'm proud of her service to protect our lands from the enemies within. A dig at her rebel tattoo. Violet girly, what are you doing? You're about to be turned into a human pretzel. Like, why? Just be quiet.
She's good at
Do a little
kissing
tap out on the
people.
mat and hope that nobody calls you a giant weenie baby. That's the best plan. But maybe she's got other plans. Violet says that her mom always taught her the minute somebody has hate in their head when they enter a fight is the minute they lose. They become emotional, not logical, not strategic. They become messy. And it's working, but because the pink-haired girl screams, "Your mom killed my whole fucking family, you bitch!" And she just starts going at it, flinging punches. Her arms are just swinging around. Violet is dodging all of them because they're not strategic. It's messy. The pink-haired girl is clearly emotional. Violet's getting dizzy from all the swerving that she's doing, but the next thing she knows,
Did you know that you could be making life-changing money on Instagram and it doesn't even require you to have a lot of followers? The things I'm going to share with you in this video.
she's knocked down on the ground. And Dane is screaming, "Imogen, you are not allowed to use your powers on the sparring ring." Violet looks down and sees something shiny, a dagger, and it's headed straight for her heart. But it just bounces off because her sister Mira had gifted her a bulletproof vest,
Hey, I
basically made out
remember.
of dragon scale, and
remember.
it saved her life for the 100th time in the past 48 hours. So people need to just stop trying to stab her right now. They need to, I don't know, slit her throat.
But no one
Imogen looks
knows.
confused when she looks down at her knife and it's just boinking off of her chest. Like, what the are you made out of? Rubber? Okay? So she's confused, and Violet uses this as a time to punch her square in the face, roll out from underneath her. But Imogen is here for blood. Literally. That's the pink-haired girl's name, by the way, Imogen, right? Her square in the face, roll out from underneath her. But Imogen is here for blood. Literally. That's the pink-haired girl's name, by the way, Imogen, right? She gets up. Her eyes look homicidal. Murder on her mind. She lunges for Violet, throws her down. She's got her knee digging into Violet's back. And her arm, she's pulling Violet's arm all the way back, like MMA fight style. Everybody's screaming at Violet to yield. Tap out. Dane, everybody on the sidelines. But she can't yield because this is her first match. What's that going to say about her, that she's the weak link? Guess what happens to weak links? They get killed. Finally, the professor yields for her. Enough. Violet yields. Imogen, you win. The match is over, but the sound echoes through the gym. The sound of a bone crunching. Violet's arm. After Violet taps out, Imogen breaks her arm because she hates her that much. Yeah, Violet is in and out of consciousness in Dane's big, chunky, muscular arms, and he's just bobbing her back and forth while running full speed towards the stone bridge, straight into the healer's quadrant. She looks up at him, and he's so focused on getting her there as quickly as possible. And she's like, "You know, everyone knows now." He's not looking at her. "They saw you freak out when..." "I'm fine, I didn't freak out. You screamed, you ran to me, lifted me up off the mat, and then carried me out there like I'm someone to you. You are someone to me." Which, remember, Dane's dad is the right-hand advisor to Violet's mom. So these two are like childhood friends, and I have a sneaking suspicion that they want a fork. Like, really
Yeah.
badly.
Who wants a fork?
Dane and Violet, yeah.
I thought we know this.
Yeah, we know this. But it's they want to
We
fork,
knew
but
it.
they're not going to fork because the squad leader and the squad people are not supposed to be forking, and everybody knows that. Dane slams the door to the healer's quadrant, and a woman named Winifred rushes to his side. Another rider is in. You rider. Violet? Hello? Winifred rushes them to an empty bed, and Violet looks at all the other beds that are filled with cadets in black clothing because they're all riders. Of course they are. They all need healing. Which, let me give you a quick breakdown. There's two types of healers, a healer and a mender. Healers are kind of like your pharmacist or your doctors. They heal you using medical training and concoctions that they have studied and have been proven to work. Healers can save your life. Menders, they have magical powers that can make things back to your original condition. They can make something as simple as a torn up piece of paper, mend it back to a full sheet again. Or broken ligaments, mend it back. Or a broken shoulder bone, mend it back. One is born and given a magical power to mend, and the other one just kind of learns how to heal, right?
So one has
Okay,
magic,
I
the
didn't
other
know
one
that.
just a
Precisely.
doctor.
It's just kind of smart.
A
Yeah.
doctor,
So
yeah.
Brennan, Violet's dead brother, was one of the legendary riders of all time. He's dead now, but his power was also mending.
You can be a rider.
Most of the menders are riders. So basically, the riders mainly get powers siphoned from their dragons.
Yeah.
And mending is such a powerful magic that typically you only get that if you're bonded to a dragon who shares some of their powers with you.
But they can also heal.
Yes.
Their power is healing.
Yes.
So, but they're not part of the healer quadrant.
No, a lot of them will eventually join the healer's quadrant though.
Oh, so rider also will be a healer.
Yes. Yeah. Riders can basically do whatever the they want once they graduate as riders.
Ah.
Yeah. Now,
They can be a scribe too.
yeah, but that doesn't really require specific power, so
I
they
didn't
likely
know
won't.
that.
Because
I didn't
most of
know
the
that.
riders, they choose to be riders.
Yeah.
You know, they're not, if they wanted to be a scribe, they would have just been a scribe, except for Violet,
I see.
who wanted to be a scribe. Anyway, Winifred, the healer, turns to another woman and orders her to fetch her husband, Nolan. Winifred and Nolan have been a part of Violet's life for as long as she can remember, since she's basically been ill and injured every other day of her life. They are the best healers out there. They're also an older married couple, maybe in their 50s or 60s, and Winifred is the best healer. Nolan is the best mender there is. Winifred tells the other healer to fetch her husband, the mender, okay? But Dane is freaking out. No, you can't, please! Weird. Why can't she? Winifred just ignores the shit out of him, and the other woman is conflicted whether she should listen to her boss Winifred or the dragon rider who looks like he's trying to kill her. Helen, meet Violet Sorengale. If Nolan finds out that a Sorengale needed mending and he was not called, well, you can explain yourself to Nolan and to Violet's mother on a later date. With that, Helen runs off because all Winifred needed to say was Sorengale. The woman's already out the freaking door fetching Nolan. Meanwhile, Winifred is pushing a liquid down her throat, down Violet's throat, drugs. So she's gonna feel real good after taking these drugs. If Dane was not such a freaking buzzkill, he's on the side freaking yapping away. You cannot let him mend her. Please, you have to. This is our only chance right now. It's been a day. She can still join the scribes. I saw the way Professor Markham was disappointed to see her in our quadrant. We can patch her up, tell everybody that she's too injured to continue in the writing quadrant. Violet is about to argue when the curtain swings open and Nolan the mender is standing there. Violet is so happy to see Nolan. Not that they're usually besties or anything like that, but honestly, life is great. She's drugged up. She's having a good time. Nolan! I would wave, but I think I'm out of commission right now. But I do have another arm I could wave with, huh? Nolan nods and Dane is up his ass too. I'm her squad leader and she's going to be transferring to the scribes after this. Violet ignores him and tells Nolan that the girl Imogen, the one that broke her arm, her mom was a separatist, a rebel, and she was mad at her, obviously, for being a Sorengale. Honestly, no hard feelings. She gets it. It happens. Meanwhile, Dane is still on the side trying to convince Violet to go to the scribes, but she cannot. She can't leave the writers because her mom's just going to throw her back in there, and then she's going to be an even bigger target because you tried to quit. You're a quitter. You're a loser. Nolan sends off Dane back to the writers because, well, one, if this wasn't Violet and Violet didn't mean anything to Dane, he would have just dropped her off on the bed and hoped that she lives and went back to the quadrant. He cannot treat Violet any differently. And two, he's distracting Violet. So with Dane gone, Violet asks Nolan to mend her just this once. Technically, they can heal her, like I said, without mending her, perform surgery, go the traditional medicine route, but she needs to get back to the writers ASAP.
Why would anybody just do meds when they can just reverse someone?
Mending is just as painful as the original injury.
Ah, but it's quick.
You're gonna heal faster. It's still gonna take some time to heal, but it's just as painful, if not maybe more painful than the original injury itself.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest downside. But it's the only way. Even with the drugs, Violet screams out loud when Nolan begins mending until everything goes black and she passes out. A blue fucking sling. They didn't have any other color? So much for not drawing attention to herself, okay? Violet's walking back to her barracks where Rhiannon is there to help her get her ready for bed. You know you're the only friend that I have in here. So I guess it would be very nice, Violet, if, you don't die.
What's a blue sling?
You know, the arm sling?
Oh,
It's
oh,
blue.
Okay.
Violet
I
smiles
was
at
like,
her
what the
and
hell
pops
is
on her
that?
bed. She's laying down, and her hand naturally reaches underneath her pillow, and she snaps up. It's a little journal with a note on top. With one hand, she opens it up. Violet, I'm leaving, but I bribed a scribe to sneak this into your room. Brennan wrote this for me before I went into the writer's quadrant. It saved my life, and it can save yours too. I added my own tips and notes as well, but mostly it's Brennan. I know he would want you to have these, because you need to live.
Who's
Love, Mira, her
His
sister.
Ah.
Yeah, Violet's sister. Violet's sitting on the bed holding back tears, but also confused because technically it is tradition in Navarre to burn everything a person owns when they die. And she was pretty sure that her mom had burned everything that belonged to Brennan. But her sister kept this for her. She flips open to the first page, and it's her brother's handwriting. She hasn't seen his handwriting in 5 years since he died. Soren Gale survive. You may not as impeccably and as fantastically as I have, but everybody has their abilities, don't we?
Wait, what?
Jokes aside, here's everything I learned. Keep this safe and hidden. You must live. Violet is watching, and you cannot let her down. Because he wrote this for Mira.
Ah.
So Brennan's the oldest. He wrote this for Mira, and now Mira's passing it down to Violet. And Violet flips to the next page. Do not draw attention to yourself. Here's a map of all the classrooms and where the instructors meet. Sparring matches are not random. They decide challenges in spars the week before. The matches are predetermined and based on knocking off the weak ones. This is what you do. If you know where to look, you will know who you are going to be matched with, and then you can prepare, because everybody has a weakness. Violet's laying in the bunk. This is her guide to survival. She sneaks out with her little cloak into the woods under the school. This is a few days after, right? And she's got this tiny satchel with empty vials. And one of her arms is still in a sling, and the moonlight is her primary source of lighting. Safe to say, Violet is freaking going through it. But this is what Brennan would have wanted her to be doing. Picking for poisonous berries out early harvest, purple berries. When you pick them up, dehydrate them, they're poisonous. Now, the real challenges start in a week, and Violet needs every bit of help that she can get to make sure that she, doesn't freaking die. So she's got to climb up this tree to pick the berries, and one of her arms is still in the sling, and she's standing underneath the tree staring up. Shit. Okay? She slowly takes her arm out of the sling, wincing at the pain. And, this, or the pain of Jack wannabe Harlow ripping her head off her body. Okay, tree it is. She starts spider monkeying up the tree until she finds the tiny little purple poisonous berries. She balances to grab the empty vials from her bag and starts filling them up with purple berries. It's kind of perfect. She bottles it up, throws it back in her satchel, and starts slowly climbing back down. Sometimes going down is more dangerous than going up, so she's taking her time with it. And then she hears the sound of a branch snapping. She stops mid-climb, squints her eyes, and looks down. Underneath her are 2 black cloaks, 2 figures, and they slowly take off their hoods. Imogen. The pink hair is practically glow in the dark. If Violet jumps off the tree right now at the perfect angle, she could potentially land on Imogen's arm and break it. Return the favor, right? That's an option. Then the other cloaked figure starts talking, and Violet freezes. Because the only thing worse than being in the woods alone with Violet and Imogen is being alone in the woods with Imogen and Xaden.
And Vivian. Okay. I don't know why I keep thinking that his name is very hard. I don't know why I keep on thinking that his name is not Zayden.
Are they about to also? I mean, obviously that's not what matters right now, but what if they do? Violet is oddly curious.
They don't see her up there?
No. Yeah. She's gonna be climbing a lot of trees and overhearing a lot of conversations. But like, I never knew that she was good at climbing trees to begin with, okay?
Wait, so she's there picking poison berries because?
To disable her next opponent for the challenges.
Oh, so
Like her
like
brother told her.
in the middle of the fight, she'd be like, eat this.
No, she's probably gonna give it to them sneaky.
Oh, ahead of
before-
time, and they were gonna be diarrheaing.
Correct.
God.
All over the mat.
So smart.
Exactly. She's wondering, is this the type of girl that Zayden usually goes for? And so she slowly climbs down a few more branches to be able to hear them. And she starts freaking out when she sees a whole group of cloaked figures emerging from the trees. Holy fucking shit. They all have rebel tattoos. Their parents were all rebels, which means they're meeting with each other. The law states very clearly if more than 3 separatist kids meet with each other in a group in private, it would basically be considered conspiring against Navarre. And the punishment for that would be capital death with a capital D. And right now, if Violet's math is correct, there's 24 of them gathered. What the fuck are they about to plan or plot? Violet gets closer and she starts listening. She recognizes one of the girls as a first year that sleeps like 3 bunks down from her. And they're talking about tutoring sessions.
Okay.
Zayden tells them the odds are stacked against them. Everyone in the unit wants to find a reason to call the marked ones a traitor or trick you into failing so that they can kill you. Nobody cares when a separatist kid dies. And nobody cares that all of them are forced into the writer's quadrant with basically a death sentence regardless of their wants or talents. Some of them could have been really good scribes, but it doesn't matter. Zayden is delegating tutoring sessions for the first years when Imogen interrupts.
I remember that all the marked ones had to be in the rider quadrant. This is their punishment. They don't have a choice. They cannot choose any other section. They have to be in riders.
But let's cut to the only thing that really matters right now. When do we get to fucking kill Violet Sorengale? Zayden pauses. She's
listening.
mine to handle. Her mother killed our parents. Another writer speaks up. Exactly. Her mother, not Violet. Punishing children for their parents' actions is exactly what Navarians do, not us. They start arguing
guy.
and how they want to kill her or when they want to kill her, and Violet is just up there like, excuse me, is this fucking play about me right now? When Zayden interrupts. Her brother was killed. She's got just as much reason to hate us as we hate her. And I'm going to say this once more. She is mine to handle. Does anyone have any objections? Everybody
No,
goes
sir.
silent.
So why he say that right there?
No,
You think he
sir.
likes her?
No.
Oh, he wants to kill her?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
No. No, of course not. Then everybody is dismissed. The group start walking back to the writer's building, and Zayden is the last to go, so Violet waits until he's finally out of sight to slowly start climbing down the trees, and she's about to step forward when a shadow, not like the shadow of a person, an actual shadow, a thick smoke of darkness lunges up and covers her mouth, and she feels a sharp dagger against her throat. You can scream if you want to die in the woods tonight.
Zayden.
He lets her go and she whips around to stare at him. Zayden's power is a shadow wielder. Super rare. Probably the best one you can have in battle.
Shadow wielder?
Shadows, he can make shadows come to life and move things. He controls the shadows.
But there's only shadow when there's light.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So Zayden realizes Violet has made the connection and he smirks. Dan hasn't warned you yet not to be alone with me in the dark? Violet knows she's gonna die, but also she might as well draw some blood first. She grabs both of her daggers, chucks them at the tree behind Zayden, which makes him chuckle until she tells him to lean back, and sure enough, she did not miss. She aimed for the trees right behind his head. So somehow the daggers like curved.
What does that mean?
I don't know. She's got good aim somehow, even though she trained
She
to be a
knows
scribe and like
how
never
to-
held a knife in her life. But you know, main character syndrome, okay? Now Zayden is intrigued.
No,
You really
from
are
what I
invited-
remember, she was trained with daggers because her mother would train her from time to time.
Little thing, aren't you? He's up real close, and of course Violet is like, whoa. He might really kill me, but also like I wonder what he looks naked. I wonder if he's got abs and I can wash my laundry on. Like, why is he
Wait.
so hot and so homicidal at the
Wait.
same time?
Actually,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
The whole time I was reading it, and I told this to my husband. I showed him the line that I was reading, and it was really funny. Okay, we are about to be close with what I read. I will tell you. I showed him the line. I was like, just read this, and he read it. He was like, do you know the situation? They're dying right now. Like some of these novels, I mean, they would be dying, and she's like, I wonder how it would feel if I kiss him right now. And I'm like, no, girl, try and live first, and then you can do all you want to do.
Can be serious.
Yeah, and Zayden's all like, are you gonna tell anyone what you saw tonight? Violet is honest. No? I mean, she might have if they were planning or plotting something against Navarre, but Xander basically assembled all of these kids so that he could just help them stay alive. Is that
Xander,
something
not
that really
Xander.
warrants death? Why wouldn't you tell? It's illegal for us to gather in groups larger than 3. So go, run off to little Mommy and Precious Dane and tell them what we've been doing in the woods. I don't see why you deserve to die for helping. Interesting. Let's see if you're honest, Sorengale. And if you are, that means I owe you. And with that, he starts walking off back to the writer's quadrant. Violet is a lot more brave when he's already walking off. What, you're not gonna handle me tonight and kill me? It's no fun if you're expecting it. Get back to bed before your wing leader realizes you snuck out. You're my wing leader! Xaden does not look back and just keeps walking. He doesn't even confiscate her little poisonous berries in her satchel. And the next day, all the cadets have to start taking assignments. It's like prison. So you're on some sort of duty, and I guess it's like the military, right? And Violet has chosen the breakfast duty. Even though it's probably the worst duty to choose, you're not scrubbing bathrooms, but you have to wake up an hour early to get food started, which is basically worse than scrubbing bathrooms. Violet chose this assignment for a reason, though. And Dane is walking her an hour early every day just to walk her to the kitchen. The short 5 minutes so that they can be
Okay, this
alone
was
together
where
without
I
everybody
have
watching.
read. I
And of
stopped
course,
after
on
this.
these walks, he's too busy telling Violet that first of all, it's not too late to join the scribes. Of course not. No. Okay, and 2, stay away from Jack Barlow. He's on one of these long-winded protective rants when they both run into Rhiannon and Tara, basically hiding in the dorm rooms doing it. So there's that. Good for her.
Wait, who?
Yeah, Rhiannon and Tara.
Who's Tara?
She was there the first day, but then she disappeared, and then now she's forking Rhiannon.
Who's Rhiannon?
Rhiannon is her best friend.
What is wrong
Oh,
with
okay.
you?
Gosh.
So Dane, being the squad leader, is trying to scold them, but it's a very half-assed attempt. We have curfew for a reason, cadets. Rhiannon smiles. Of course. Just like you're up early as well, right? And she runs off with Tara. Violet cannot help but smile. Dane, on the other hand, is distressed. I didn't think monitoring the sex lives of first years was going to be a squad leader's duties. I'm sure you were the same when you were a first year. And you're a first year now. Does that mean, is that what... Dane, are you asking me about my sex life right now? No, of course not. I didn't even know that there was a sex life to ask about right now. Is there a sex... Oh, well, since you're asking, it's none of your business. She shoots him a cute little, I'm just a girl smile. And Dane is trying to collect his thoughts. He's like one-track-minded guy. Like, what can he say? He clears his throat. Are you ready for the challenges today? Yeah, everything's gonna be fine, okay? But he doesn't believe her. Because honestly, can you blame the guy? She did shatter her shoulder the last time she tried fighting somebody. But this time, she's got a secret weapon up her sleeve in a tiny little glass vial. Fawnelly berries, dehydrated, pulverized into a thin, invisible powder ready to be spread over Orin Seifret's eggs. Her opponent in today's challenge. Now she'd be ready. So after breakfast service, Violet rushes to her first class with Professor Kaori. Professor Kaori is an illusionist, which is his power that he's gotten from his dragon. It's again a very rare power, but whatever he imagines in his mind, he can make come to life, project it like a hologram for everything, for everyone to see what he's thinking. And right now, there's a giant red scorpion tail hovering over the classroom. A dragon, not a real one, but an illusion. Professor's illusion. Professor K's illusion. Red scorpion tails are quite temperamental, so if you are to upset them, you're basically lunch. Someone screams from the class. What would be the best approach for a scorpion tail? Anybody? Okay, well, from the left and from the front,
What do you
if
mean
possible.
scorpion tail? It's mean like they're a big dragon, but like their tail is like a scorpion? Is that what it means?
You never want to come up behind a scorpion tail. While Professor K switches the illusion to the next dragon, Rhiannon asks the pressing, very important question. Wait, how many dragons will be available to bond during threshing this year? 100 this year. That is if they decide you lot are worthy of bonding with. So, side note, threshing is when the dragons will decide if they pick a human to bond with. You can kill other cadets during threshing to impress a dragon, or if you guys are fighting over the same dragon, you can literally kill someone for no reason. A dragon could kill you for no fucking reason other than, I don't know, your fish food. But 2 weeks before threshing, there's also something called a presentation, where it's about 2 months from today. Yeah, it's about 2 months from today. And your squad runs up this giant obstacle course, and the dragons will fly by and see if they even want to come to threshing. This is like a preview. Oh, do I even want to show up? Yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of... Anyway, another first year asks, did they tell you why they're not bonded?
Dragons are like, they're like kings, and they're like, I can do whatever I want here.
Dragons only
It's
talk to
not
their
a
bonded
contract,
riders and no
though.
other humans. And anyone who would like to stay alive will not ask a dragon why they refuse to answer questions. They very much do as they please. But now, the real question comes in. A girl named Ara Lee asks, is that why the protection wards have been weaker? Less bonded dragons and humans, less wards? No? Is that not how it works? The whole class looks up from their desks at the professor. We're not certain, but I would be lying if I said that it wasn't a thought that had crossed our minds. But from what we know so far, the number of bonds between dragons and riders have typically never affected the wards. The illusion in the lecture hall turns to a navy blue dragon, the one bonded to Zayden. There will be no concern of blue dragon danger this threshing, as none of them are willing to bond. But you should learn to recognize Sigale if you are to run into her. This is Zayden's blue daggertail, the rarest of the blues. If you see a blue daggertail without their bonded rider, it is best practice to, well, don't let that happen. Another year finishes the sentence. So if you see a blue dragon, just run. The chances of running into one are slim to none. Most of them are in the Espen Mountains, where the war is the most intense. Blue daggertails are amongst the most powerful dragons, but amongst them, Sigale is unmatched. She is a force to be reckoned with, and she is Zayden's bonded dragon. Violet is sitting there thinking, well, okay.
So they're saying that Zayden's dragon is like one of the most powerful dragon there is to be. Is that what they're saying? So he's not only a ringleader, he's actually has the most dangerous dragon. And so he is in...
That explains it. Makes sense. Zayden can wield shadows. Typically, the more powerful the dragon, the more powerful the power the rider inherits.
Oh, so
Jack
his power
smirks.
is also
What about the
rare.
black dragon? There's a black dragon that's unbonded, is there not? I want the black one. The illusion turns into a giant black dragon, much larger than the blue dragon, and probably more terrifying. Black dragons are the rarest. There's only 2 of them right now that the humans know of. The first one belongs to General Melgren, the general that can see the outcome of battles. Okay? That's one. And then the other one is unbonded.
Wait, General Melgren is the top.
Top.
Okay.
They are the smartest of the dragons, rarest too. There hasn't even been a single black dragon born in the past 100 years.
Oh.
Jack's basically got a bonbon in his pants, okay? I bet the power he gives the rider on.
What? Also, I have the feeling, since they're telling us so much about this dragon, and I believe Stephanie is not doing it justice, because from what I read so far, which is way before this scene, is that everything is just so much in detail in the novel. And if Stephanie goes into that same detail that they have in the novel, she'll have to make 12 parts. So I believe since they're giving such an importance to this dragon, it's gonna end up with our protagonist.
Are unmatched. How do you approach a black dragon then, huh? The last thing anybody needs is somebody like Jack Barlow having one of the most powerful dragons. That would be hell. You do not approach a black dragon, if you wish to survive, that is. There is only one unbonded black dragon, and he has not agreed to bond since his previous rider died. Jack is all, yeah, but if I can ask, though, if let's say he wants to bond because we're so worthy, aka me, what kind of powers can he give his rider? Jack, the ever greedy, the professor stops him. Signet powers are a result of both rider and dragon. Sometimes the powers say more about the rider than the dragon. It is certain that the more powerful the dragon, the stronger the signet power, but in terms of what the power is, depends more on the rider. Well, what was the previous rider's power? Siphoning. Siphoning power was his power. He could siphon power from other dragons and other riders, use it or redistribute it to those he so wished.
Wait, what does that mean?
That means he had all the powers, basically. If
That's
you
a
were,
cheat code. What do you mean?
yeah. Then how did the rider die in the uprising? Professor K stares at Violet, and finally he tears his eyes off of her, which is weird. Resurrection is not a power that can be given to any rider. It does not exist. It is not a power that can be used. Neolin, the previous rider, tried to resurrect another rider on the field, but since he was trying to siphon a power that does not exist, he burned himself out. Professor...
Was he trying to resurrect Violet's brother? I mean, that's the only explanation why the professor looked at Violet before answering the question, right?
Kay continues teaching, but he refuses to look at Violet after that. Interesting. So when all the other students shuffle out of class, she walks up to him, and he knows why she's staying behind. It was my brother, wasn't it? The other rider that Neolin tried to resurrect?
I was not expecting... Wait. I was not expecting this reaction from the husband Mango.
So when all the other students shuffle out of class, she walks up to him, and he knows why she's staying behind. It was my brother, wasn't it? The other rider that Neolin tried to resurrect? Yes.
Yes.
Why?
I knew it.
Why would Neolin give up his
I knew
life to
it.
try and save my brother, even though he and we all know that resurrection is not a power? Surely he's not too dumb. Professor K looks uncomfortable. I imagine it's not easy being a Sorengale in this building, but outside of this school, being a Sorengale is everything. Every single person in your wing will do everything to keep you alive, not because they are commanded to, and not because they like you, but because you are the daughter of one of the most feared generals in Navarre. Either out of fear or wanting a favor from your mother in return, they will do whatever it takes to keep you alive. It seems that is what
Killing
happened with your
themselves?
brother. And as for knowing resurrection is impossible, sometimes if a rider has too much power, they cannot accept the fact that there are limitations to that.
Dang, that was deep.
Violet nods.
That was...
Thank you for letting me know. She's about to turn and leave, but Professor K stops her. Violet, I knew both Brennan and Mira quite well. Your brother was a good man, and your sister shrewd and gifted. But you're more cunning than both of them. Smarter.
Oh.
Violet is silent.
Okay.
Yeah, that never happens. Nobody ever says that she's better than either of her legendary siblings. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, imagine your
Yeah.
brother is Iron Man and someone is like, hey, you, Rando, you're cooler than Iron Man. Get the fork out of here. Jeez Louise, okay? Thank you, Professor K, but Smart isn't going to get a dragon to bond with me. Dragons bond with humans for reasons they will never divulge with us. Sometimes it's puzzling, sometimes we can't understand it, but it's not at all about physical strength. There's quite more to it. Violet smiles and
She's
nods
bonding
because
with the
none of that's
black
gonna
one.
matter if her little berry powder doesn't work because she's about to go fight Orin. While everybody is waiting for their turn, Dan warns Violet that Orin, her match, has it out for her. He wants to kill her. He's besties with Jack Barlow, and he thinks that he's gonna be doing everybody a favor. If there is a weak rider in battle, that could be the end of the war or the end of a lot of riders' lives because a weak link, they should die before becoming a rider. Jack walks over to taunt Violet before her predetermined, premeditated homicide. And instead of following Dane's advice, which is very clearly stay the hell away from Jack till his anger and hatred is aimed at somebody else and be so boring and so unnoticeable that Jack Barlow just moves on, instead of doing what Dane tells her, she throws 2 daggers at him. One barely cuts his ear and the other just softly grazes his precious treasures, his little testes. Violet can feel Xaden watching her, and she could have sworn that she saw the tiniest little smile on his lips, okay? But Jack is pissed. You're gonna pay for that, Sorengale. And he walks off. Before Dane can lecture her, talk her, yap her freaking ear off, just nagging her, her name is called along with Oren. Her brother's journal was right. She knew exactly where to look, and she knew exactly who she's fighting. They both step onto the mat, and Violet looks at Oren, and he looks green. He looks a little green, just a tinge of green. I mean, even when Oren's not sick, he moves with the grace of a cat in heels. So she's watching him stumble, charge towards her, swerving at the very last moment each time until he finally stumbles, plops down. She pounces on him, and she's placing her knee on his back, holding him down. And he starts throwing up scrambled eggs from breakfast.
Oh my
Yield.
god.
He's too busy throwing up, so the professor yields for him. Violet climbs off of the man, grabs one of his daggers, because for the challenges, you're allowed to use daggers, and when you beat someone up, you get to keep one of their daggers. A symbol that you took them the F down. Violet shrugs at everyone. He's sick. I guess I just got lucky. She would get lucky week after week. The next opponent can't even throw punches for long because the mushrooms with hallucinogenic properties stuffed into her breakfast. Oop, and then the next week, her next opponent seems to have some sort of vertigo condition. What a shame. And then the week after that, her opponent's got blurry vision. Seems like a darn condition is going around. After winning 5 daggers, it is clear to everybody Violet is either getting pretty good at this or the Sorengales have luck on their side. Until week 6. Violet, unfortunately, your challenge opponent, Rayma, from the 3rd wing, is suddenly cannot seem to walk properly, which means I guess I can place you with... I'd be more than happy to take her place.
Jack Harlow.
Xaden.
The whole
fork?
gym goes quiet.
The wing leader?
Everybody stops sparring. Violet looks up. Not that she needs to confirm who it is. She already knows. Xaden has stepped onto the mat and is staring straight at Violet. This is where I'm like, Violet, girl, we need to get focused, okay? Eyes on the prize, which is, walking off the mat alive without being dismembered by the person whose dad was executed by your mother.
Don't
Remember
tell me
that?
she's thinking
The second
about...
that Xaden walks up, she's all like, ooh, 6 feet tall, bitch. 6 feet tall, all on this mat. I wonder what he looks like laying down on it. I wonder what he looks like when I'm on top of him. He's in the tightest fighting leathers that are just accentuating his big, giant, gleaming, glistening throat.
No, it's funny because when I was reading it, I was like, this girl is just way too horny.
Throbbing muscles and his rebel tattoos, they look like a warning. A hot warning. Too hot to touch. Caution. A professor claps. You guys are in for a good lesson. Xaden is one of the best fighters on the mat. Everybody watch and take notes. Violet is shitting her pants, but Xaden is having a good time. He's enjoying this. What a sadistic motherfucker, okay? The one person that seems to have some sort of reaction other than Violet is Dane. Don't you think it's an unfair match, Ryerson? She's a bit under your weight class. Xaden doesn't even take time to look at Dane, like he's just a fly on the wall. He just smirks, walks over to Imogen, and starts taking off his weapons one by one, each dagger hidden in places where you don't expect such long, hard daggers to be hiding in, you know what I mean? He's bringing them out, Imogen is holding them, and something about it feels intimate. And something about it is making Violet jealous, even though she should be concerned about her life right now. Honestly, she's a horn dog, and she's gonna get killed, okay? She's gonna be out of the battlefield and be like, whoa, so many shirtless dudes, and then she's gonna get... Are you sure you don't want to bring
That's
those onto
all
the
I was
mat?
saying.
I'm sure you have more than enough to share, Violet. He steps onto the mat, head cocked to the side, and he's all like, come.
Dude.
Violet
Please.
unsheaths a dagger and she chucks it at Xaden, but he's fast. He catches it. I know that one already, don't I? Shit. Violet runs up to him and tries to kick him down as hard as she can, and she's been practicing this move with Riri every morning, but he catches her leg mid-air, slams her onto the ground, knocking the wind out of her. All right, time to die. But interestingly, Xaden does not go in for the kill. He grabs her dagger and kicks it off the mat towards Dane. He pins her down, then takes another dagger and slides it over to Dane, blocking every punch, kick, slap, everything. Oh, so
Bruh,
hot.
please.
Okay.
They're just like doing it right now.
Angry today? Are we now violence? It's honestly insulting. He's publicly disarming her so that she and everybody knows that killing her isn't even what he wants. It's too beneath him. There's no fair fight. He can easily disarm her. My name is Violet. I like my name for you more. Violence. I think I'm getting too old for this. I think I'm getting too old for this. He helps her up and tells her to try again. So she runs for him again, and he takes her arm, swings it behind her, puts her own dagger up to her own neck, and now she's pressed up against his rock hard abs. You disgusting, filthy mind. Get your mind out the gutter. He disarms her, pushes her away from him. She whirls and aims straight for his throat, but he's faster and knocks her fist into the side like a little fly. Mother forker. She tries punching him again, but he grabs her by the arm and she goes flying, landing straight on her ribs, and he's on top of her now, holding her arm in place, and he leans down so that he's just inches from her face. Smart. I'll give you that. But you didn't have the time to poison my breakfast, did you? Violet stops wiggling away and she's frozen now. You're gonna get yourself killed if you don't test yourself in here. You're never gonna get better. Well, wouldn't you love to see me get slaughtered on the mat and deny myself the joy of being in your presence? She's pissed. She tells him, I fucking hate you. He smirks, releases her, kicks another dagger towards Dane, and in the meantime, Violet gets up, kicks him from behind the knees, and he goes down like a massive oak tree, just da-da-dump. Dump trucking down. She pounces to put him in a headlock, but he rolls her over so easily, like she's nothing but a piece of leaf falling from a tree. And again, of course, he's on top of her, basically dry humping her in the middle of the gym. It's a lot. They're staring into each other's eyes. Everybody is watching. His onyx eyes are just a few inches from her, and her lips are so close to his. They're practically touching, and Violet hates herself for this, but her body is reacting to him because he's so hot. Violet is gonna get herself killed because she can't stop wanting to fork these homicidal men.
See, this is what I was saying. They're in the middle of a fight and she is thinking of, well,
You're not training well. You're small. The bigger moves that you're doing with your body are only gonna hurt you when you're not big enough for them. He takes Violet's hand in front of everyone and starts guiding her hands around his back. She's got a dagger in her hands, by the way. And he is guiding that dagger up and down his side. The ribs, kidneys from this angle, all would have been good viable options.
Wait, what's going on? He's like flirting now?
Yeah, and like Violet's got the survival skills of a potato because she could stab him right now, get it over with, but she's like, I wonder what his wee-wee looks like. Girl, if you don't... Do you understand? Violet nods. You can't poison every enemy. Besides, I've met better poison masters. They stare at each other before Dane clears his throat and anger is seething from his voice. I think you've taught her enough today, Wing Leader Ryerson. But now, of course, Xander isn't going to get up off of Violet. He's staring her in the eyes. He's quite protective, isn't he? He cares. Well, he's hurting you. You need to learn not to be babied. Then slowly, Xaden moves her dagger, grips her hand back to her ribs where her sheath is and places it back inside the sheath. And Violet is about to bust at this point. I feel like she's a BDSM girly. She's really into it. And with that, Xaden gets up and just walks away from the mat, leaving Violet scrambling to get up and grab her weapon. She's all mind-boggled. Her mind is a mess. She's like, oh my God, what just happened? She has no survival skills. That night, Dane sneaks into her room to massage her. Just a massage. Dane is not a homicidal.
What is going on right now?
Yeah, Dane is not a homicidal maniac, so obviously Violet's not that
The
into
hell
it, but
is
it's
wrong
okay.
with this novel?
Briefly, Violet asks if Xaden is planning something. Like, what if he's trying to become the strongest writer so that he can betray Navarre like his dad did? But Dane reassures her it's impossible. Dragons are basically in their writers' minds at all times, and no dragon would ever betray Navarre. No dragon would put up with their writer if they even had such a passing thought. So no, that's not Xaden's master plan. He's loyal to Navarre. But as he's massaging her neck, Dane does admit he went behind her back and told the scribe Professor Markham that Violet is being targeted. He said he's willing to take you in right now. Once you've been inducted as a scribe, there's nothing that can take you out, not even your mom. That's the rules. We can just hide it from her until then, till the end of the semester. And Violet, I know, I've seen what's been going on. Orin has been slamming you up against the walls, and don't think that Riri didn't tell me that she found dead flowers in your bed. Yeah, dead flowers, what a scary threat. I know they were mutilated violets. Yeah, so what? That's a threat. Mutilated violets? Do you know what threshing is about? It's a chance for you to bond with a dragon, but it's also a chance for first years to kill each other. They will wipe out whoever they fucking want, but also anyone they believe will be a liability for their wing. Nobody is allowed to intervene with threshing. I'll just have to watch as they come for you. And you don't think that I can handle it? Are you listening to me, Violet? I can't lose you. Please, just think about it. Violet promises to think about running away to the scribes for the umpteenth time, okay? But have you ever been on an app?
Dane is annoying. I really liked him in the first video she did, and I really liked him in the start. But yeah, nah, I don't like Dane. He is slowly becoming a character that is not helping with the growth of Violet, and I think that's gonna pull her away from him, and that's exactly what's gonna push her towards Xaden. And he would just have to stand and watch, and then he would do something really, really stupid because he cannot handle that.
Obstacle course. This is an obstacle course from hell. The whole squad is looking at it. No, really, the whole squad is staring at it. The gauntlet is what they call it. In 2 weeks, they're going to be forced to go through the gauntlet, a warrior ninja style obstacle course, basically bolted to the side of the cliff where if you fall, you will die. It is described as a zigzagging death trap, and it is basically one more round of killing off the weak ones before the dragons get to pick which ones they want to bond with, if any at all. If the humans present weak riders to the dragons, they may never come back to another threshing. They may think it's a waste of their time and they're being insulted. At the gauntlet, each cadet will be measured by time on how fast they can scale to the top. Then each squad is also, their times are tallied together and the squads are ranked against each other as well. I have no fucking idea why. Don't ask me why. I will say, the rules of magic in this book, soft as a pillow. Do you know what I mean? So there's hard magic where the rules are the rules and you can't break them. And then there's soft magic where the magic is just kind of like...
Just magicking.
But there's no rules and you don't really know how the magic be magicking, but it be magicking. Yeah. So that, yeah, I don't know what the squad... I think you get something. Anyway, think about it, okay? The weak links, they're going to bring down the squad time. So in the real world, it's kind of a representation of the weak rider is going to bring down the whole military. So you need to get your together. That's how high stakes this is. It's a crazy obstacle course. First, you have to run through to the course. Then you have to dodge the swinging heavy metal balls. There's crazy high up cliffside ridges you have to run across. It's a whole thing like a balance beam. And right now, every squad gets to practice every single day for 2 weeks. You just get 1 hour a day. That's it. Learning the course, familiarizing yourself, getting to the top. And then on Gauntlet Day, you will race each other like a relay race. The main difference is that today you can actually climb back down if you don't make it to the top. The day of the gauntlet, you are not allowed to. If you cannot get to the top, you will have to fall to your death. The reasoning behind, if you can't do the gauntlet, how will you be a rider? The course tests the cadet's balance. How do you imagine you will stay balanced on a dragon if you cannot remain balanced on this? You need strength to hold your position and engage in combat on top of a dragon, and stamina to fight on the ground and still mount your dragon within seconds notice and to keep fighting in air. it's done like a relay race. And if you're slow, the person behind you will have a slower time as well because they cannot surpass you. And surprisingly, Violet does okay the first round. She doesn't make it to the top because one of the girls in her squad dies during practice. She slips off and dies after a green dragon flies above them while they practice. She is in so much awe of the dragon. She looks up for a split second, and that is enough to have her tumbling all the way down to the freaking ground, and then she's dead.
Oh my god.
So that night, Violet sneaks out again after curfew after losing one of her own squad mates. The first of their squad. They were the only squad that hadn't lost a squad mate until now, so boo-hoo. She sneaks out. I will say the death in this book, they're like, okay, next.
Yeah, so it's not that.
You don't feel
So,
anything.
But they have already, from the start of the novel, they have literally already made it clear that death is a very common phenomenon here. Like, a person die every single day, so they're literally not gonna go on and be, it's like you're gonna move on quickly.
But the characters keep telling you they're sad about people dying, but then they just be dying nonstop, and then they're like, this
What
is
it
the
is.
writer's quadrant, though. People will die, except not the main character who hasn't trained a
Obviously.
day in her life for this. Meanwhile, these other
Obviously.
bitches who were born and been training on these obstacle courses, they'll die. But not our girl Violet, okay? She snuck out and she sees 3 dragons flying around near each other, but not leisurely. It's as if they were here for something. One of them is Zayden's blue dragon flying overhead, which is very curious. Again, after curfew, Violet looks back through the courtyard, and the only other people she sees are a couple debating if they want to dry hump now or in 5 minutes. They're debating.
Okay.
And then 3 cloaked figures, Zayden, his cousin Body, and another guy named Garrick. They're all the separatist kids, like rebel kids. Zayden's cousin turns to him. But we have to do something. We're doing everything we can. Now go inside. Wait, why? Did something happen? Go inside. So Zayden can sense that Violet is listening. He's a shadow wielder. He senses, I don't know how it works, okay? But of course he can. But you know what? Fuck that guy. Why should Violet always panic at the sight of him? Just because he's it's like, geez Louise, what if he's just waiting for a sunny day that's 72 degrees, perfect conditions to kill her? Like, get it over with already. The other 2 guys walk off and Zayden turns around. Violet stands up because she doesn't want him to think that she's A, spying on him, or B, worse than that she's hiding from him because she's scared. I know you know I'm here. And please don't give me the whole, of course I do, I'm a shadow wielder. You shouldn't be alone with me in the dark, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired, okay? And you have no questions on what we were talking about or what we were doing in a group of 3? Violet looks at him. Honestly, I don't really care. What are you doing out past curfew? Just, contemplating if I should make my great escape. How about you? Same thing. How did you know? Fucking sarcastic asshole. Can you please just tell me if you're gonna off me or not? It's honestly starting to piss me off, this whole hee-hee cute little dance that we've got going on. It's been fun, but I haven't decided quite yet. Well, if you could hurry up and be a bit more decisive, that'd be great. Why, are you
She
planning out
wants to
your
die?
upcoming week events? So funny. But Violet just drops her smirk because she's too tired to even be bickering like this. I just need to know what I'm gonna do, what my odds are. It's a very fascinating way to flirt with me, Violet.
What?
No, you fucking gross. Not my odds with you, my odds of surviving. Her wrist and her heart starts pounding. Nothing like death looming in the distance, but here's a hot man. Your odds of what? I can't make it up the gauntlet. Just maybe if you stopped wallowing in self-pity, you would realize that you have what it takes to make it up the gauntlet.
Okay.
Violet's fucking tired. She doesn't care that she's breaking curfew. She's not here for this motivational bullshit, okay? I'm too fucking short to span the distance to climb. Got it? Zayden stares at her. There's more than one way to do it. The right way is not the only way. Figure it out. For 2 weeks they've been practicing, and it's presentation day now. It's gonna be one of the deadliest days for first years, because it always is. I don't know, I feel like they've been saying that about every day. They're like, the first day is the deadliest day. No, just kidding. The presentation day. No, just kidding. The threshing day. Bro, okay? And also, just so you know,
Every day, though.
they need more fighters in the war. But meanwhile, the school is like, kill them all! Like, at least send them out to the front lines or something, okay? Out of the 5 tiers of the obstacle course, Violet has only been able to get past 3. She still has 2 left, and she can't get past the freaking chimney. It's like a chimney structure. She's got to scale up, but she's too short, so her body cannot scale it properly on the inside like the others. Rhiannon offers to let Violet climb on top of her and get a head start on the chimney, but 2 reasons it's not going to work. First of all, Violet's just going to be stuck in the middle of the chimney then. And 2, the cadets aren't allowed to touch each other and give each other a helping hand. None of that. No physical contact. So yeah, she's just going to go up there. No plans, no thoughts, just vibes. On the way to the obstacle course, Dane is still trying to convince her to run off to the scribes.
Come on, Dane.
Is Dan getting a little annoying here?
He's getting so annoying and repetitive. I want to punch him in the face. Okay, usually...
Does he have a personality?
Okay, so usually in books where there's a love triangle going on,
Yeah.
the good guy has somewhat more of a personality and has somewhat more of a life going on. But this guy,
So every time he's just like, oh, you gotta be a scribe. You gotta
bruh.
go.
every time I read his name in the book, I'm like, here we go. You yappy big yapster, here to yap my fucking eyeballs off again and again and again and again. Listen, I like to nag people. I'm a yapper, but this man... Oh, yeah, come to you. I forgot you were there.
Who is that? Oh, the dog?
The dragon.
Staring at me.
Is the other guy more likable now? The main guy?
I'm not the most attached to him yet.
He's like acting real nice already.
I'm already attached to Zayden, okay? More than Dane.
Yeah,
more
I think that I would have
definitely
liked
more
if
than
he
Dane.
genuinely tried to kill her more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I am just a toxic girl though, and I
No, I agree. Like, why is he? It doesn't make sense.
When I read enemies to lovers,
Yeah, it's
I
gotta
want
be
the
a real
enemy to be
yeah.
real strong.
Yeah, but he's already so nice.
He be like her enemy protector. I don't know why he's protecting her. From what? Who knows? From himself? Probably not. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure it all comes together. Anyway, on the course, I'm just going to speed through it because it's pretty anticlimactic. Violet does 2 things. She uses ropes on the side. Yeah, did you know there's ropes on the side? You get a 30-second penalty every time you use it. But there's ropes on the sides. So she uses that to climb the chimney structure, and somehow it works, and if her calculations are correct, it's only a 30-second deduction in her time because technically she only used it once for a prolonged period of time, but I digress. Then there's this massive gap that she's got to make up for since she's super short. I mean, no matter how fast she runs straight for it and throws her entire body weight up, it's not enough to propel her high enough, which is why she grabs her daggers that she brought from home, impales it to the side of the cliff, hoists herself up, and then she fucking makes it. Yeah.
Good for her.
I will say it's pretty anticlimactic.
Good
And they
for
were
her.
like, for 2 weeks, you're gonna die here. Say goodbye to mommy and daddy, bitch, you're toast. And then she's like, I've got a kitchen knife, and I'm gonna use some silly string. Ah, I made it. Okay, but like, she does kind of slam onto the cliffside, so there's that. She gets to the top where all the other cadets who have made it are standing, and the wing leaders, all 4 of them, are there to watch their cadets. And Riri is hugging Violet when a baby voice is screaming towards them. She's breaking the rules! Violet looks up. It's one of the wing leaders, Amber Mavis. She used to be super close with Dan, maybe too close, but that was last year. She's the wing leader for the 3rd wing, and she looks pissed. She's booking it, marching straight up to Zayden, who could care less about her existence. She's freaking cheating. She used 2 foreign materials twice on the course. Garrick, Zayden's right-hand man, relic tattoo, rebel tattoo. I don't take it lightly when someone is calling my cadet in my section a cheater. And it is our wing leader to decide if a cadet is breaking the rules on his own wing. Step out of line, Amber.
Okay.
Amber's eyes are about to be as red as her hair, okay? She looks like she could kill somebody. Zayden, on the other hand, looks bored. He turns to Violet to ask her to explain. I accept a 30-second penalty for the usage of the rope. What? Are you kidding me? You should be freaking disqualified. You cheated. Violet stares straight at hysterical Amber. A rider may only bring to the quadrant the items they can carry on their person across the bridge. Once they have crossed, they are considered part of their person. Are you fucking quoting the Codex book to me? That's for thievery, you stupid... Correct. However, Amber, the rules are the rules. This is a dagger that I brought across the bridge. It belongs to me. It is part of my person, and so I can bring it onto the obstacle course and use it as I would use my own limbs. It is a part of my person. Zayden stares at Violet, then at Amber. Unfortunately for you, Amber, it seems like she's got you beat on that point. You know it's cheating. She's bending the codes to her favor. But she did not break any codes, did she? So if you're done here, Amber has to be practically dragged out by members of her own wing, and Xaden is just staring at Violet, glaring honestly, which isn't he the freaking one that told her the right way is not the only way? What is he so pissy about? He looks down at her hands. Take care of the mess. She looks down and her palms are freaking leaking blood. About 10 died in the presentation, the gauntlet. And even with Violet's penalty with the 30 seconds for using the rope, the squad comes in 11 out of 36, which is not bad, which means they are the 11th squad to present themselves to the dragons. Here's the way it works. The dragons, all 100 of them have come out and are lined up on the field. Each squad will walk in a single...
Dragons are here right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Finally!
Squad. Also, I did have my suspicions while I was reading this book that the author was writing for an adaptation of a movie because the dragons are not that frequently in at least the first half of the book. They're like barely there. So now we're finally getting the dragons. I'm like, I've been waiting for you. This is the dragon.
Yeah, I was waiting for the dragons. I mean, I got into this book because I found out that they have dragons and you get to bond with dragons. That's such a cool thing. And now they're here.
In school, I thought they'd just be hanging out in the cafeteria. Where have you been? So anyway, the dragons, they're gonna walk across the field where the dragons are, and they are told not to approach the dragons unless they want to die. Just walk past. Don't make eye contact. This is the time for the dragons to see if there's anyone even worth their time to show up to the threshing. Each dragon averages about 25 feet tall, and they're gonna...
So how much time are the dragons gonna see? They see you when you're practicing for the whole gauntlet, and then they also see you when you are doing that, and then they're also going to see when you're going to pass through them.
They kill whichever cadet they think is insulting to even be brought in front of them, but also whoever they feel like for shits and giggles, sharts and gaggles, okay? After the presentation, Violet's squad lines up and is led to the dragons. A few tips. 1, stay 7 feet apart from each other because, well, if a dragon doesn't like one of you, you're gonna get torched and you don't want to be collateral, right? And then just another reminder, death is constantly looming around the corner, okay?
So, stay 7 feet apart because if the person next to you gets torched, if you're too close to them, you can get torched too, right?
Now, just before the walk to the path, Luca, the annoying one in their squad, has another freaking question. Honestly, everybody in their squad is sick of her shit. She's just insufferable, and she thinks that tearing other people down is the best way to get ahead. I heard there's a Feathertail. Everybody whips around. A Feathertail dragon? They're the most non-combative, not fierce dragons out there. They never bond with any riders. Actually, humans haven't seen a Feathertail in probably centuries. In fact, they're never part of threshing. Bonding with one right now during this war would mean that you have less powers, and in return, less likely to stay alive. But Garrick just shrugs it off. Perhaps the Feathertail is just curious to see what kind of show lot you guys are.
Okay, so the black one, forgot his name, is the most powerful one, and the Feathertail is the least powerful one, and so no one wants to bond with a Feathertail.
Walk single file, stay on the path,
Right.
don't make eye contact.
In the line of dragons, there's one of them is Feathertail.
Yeah, it's like a little pug. Like a little oink oink cutie patootie dragon.
Really?
Okay,
What do they look like?
Like a cute little bird. A golden bird.
It's not a dragon?
It is, but they're really small. 10 feet tall. The other dragons are at least 25 feet tall.
Aww.
Okay.
They're cute.
They're a little cutie, patootie.
Little cutie dragon. Golden bird.
It's not a dragon?
It is, but they're really small. 10 feet tall. The other dragons are at least 25 feet tall.
Aww.
And they're cute.
They're a little cutie, patootie.
Little cutie patooties, but
What-
also you don't want to
Can
bond
they
with one.
kill humans too?
Nobody knows. Nobody has really seen a Feathertail.
Aww.
They're so
So
mysterious.
these are just a random bunch of dragons just showed up?
All the species of dragons.
Oh, so they all look like all sorts of looks?
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
got
that's
all
so
sorts
fun.
of vibes. Yeah, I mean, perhaps the Feathertail is just curious. So stay in the single file line. Don't make eye contact. Don't interact. You walk all the way to the end. Turn around and walk back. If you can't follow these simple directions, then the dragons can have at you. And I would advise that you talk to each other. What?
What?
Talk. Dragons want to see if you grow bonds with those around you. They're going to judge you on your relationship with your squad. Only look at the dragons if they're showing off their tails. Otherwise, keep it moving. They start making their way
Okay.
downtown, walking fast. Dragons past, and I'm homebound. They start walking, and everything smells like sulfur, burnt, charred sulfur. So that's great. But you can't look scared because no dragon wants urine-drenched little abyss to bond with. Violet and Riri are walking in front of each other, so that's good. They're bonding and walking, but the others of the squad, some of them are being downright obnoxious and arrogant. By the way, dragons can understand English. Even though the dragons can hear them. At the very end, they come across the Feathertail. The Feathertail, the smallest of them, maybe 10 feet tall, right? Fully gold, shimmering. It's beautiful, like a mini golden dragon, almost like a golden dragon egg, but in dragon form. But the dragon is not a combat dragon. It's not a dragon that can save you in times of war dragon. I don't even know if the dragon can support your weight during long flights.
10 feet? I'm sure they can.
Luca is sneering at the dragon. Look at it. It's fucking yellow. You know what that means, don't you? It doesn't even deserve a real pigmented color. The more pigmented a color, the more powerful. That's why the black dragon is the most powerful. The black dragon is not there, by the way. It's not trying to bond. Sawyer keeps walking, but wonders, perhaps it's a baby? No, there's no way. The other dragons would never allow another baby to bond. Besides, humans have never even gotten to see a baby dragon. Ever. In history.
Okay.
The other nasty squad members start snickering with each other. Well, perfect to bond with Violet since you're both weak. Everyone freezes for a second. It is one thing to be called weak, but another thing to be called weak in front of dragons. That is life or death.
Wait, when everyone call you...
But why do I feel like... First, when they were talking about the black dragon the most, I thought she would bond with the black dragon. But now they keep on talking about the Feathertail. Is it going to be she's gonna bond with the Feathertail? Everyone's gonna think she is the weakest person at all, of all, and then they both are gonna just show up with amazing powers or something, because they think that the Feathertail is also weak, right? So maybe they will think like, oh, they both are weak and no one's gonna take them seriously. But then the signet power of Violet and it's really amazing, and also the power of the Feathertail is really amazing, and they don't know
One
because no
person
one
weak
has
in
ever
front of
bonded with them.
But I would think that's more insulting to the Feathertail. Like, they're just calling Feathertail
Yeah,
weak.
and also, if you're going around calling people weak, you're weak. Yeah, so much for squad makes. Luca smirks.
That was
What?
also a good point.
He's just saying out loud what the whole squad is thinking, Violet. Do you have a problem with that? I mean, it's logical, no? Your hair is half silver and you're petite, shiny and small. Perfect match for the golden Feathertail. They keep walking while Tynan, another guy, spits. Someone needs to kill it before it bonds. It's gonna kill whoever bonds with it. And if it bonds with one of us, we don't get to say no. But halfway through, the whole group stops dead in their tracks, and it feels like they're thrown into an incinerator, and the whole field feels scorching hot. One of their squad mates, the one right in front of Rhiannon, gets incinerated by a dragon.
Why?
Vibes.
Okay.
Rhiannon has to show no fear, step over their dead squad mate's body to keep walking. From behind, Violet can hear Luca complain, "Oh God, the smell." She whips around. Can you just for once in your life show some fucking respect for other people? But before she can turn back, Rydick, another cadet, a nice one, his face is pale. Violet can already feel it. She feels the hot dragon's breath on the back of her neck, and she slowly turns around, and there's not one but two green dragons staring at her. Shh. Green dragons are known to be the most reasonable. Green dragons staring at her.
Dragons are staring at her?
Green dragons are known to be the most reasonable. However, when you should greet that, you should lower your heads. Or at least, right? That's what she remembers reading somewhere. She lowers her eyes, and they keep nudging her with their giant noses. She's got to tighten her core to not fall over, but they keep essentially booping her on the chest with their giant dragon noses. Oh, shit.
What?
Oh, shit. Violet realizes what's going on. You smell Tian.
What's
Oh,
going on?
shit. Violet realizes what's going on. You smell Tian, right? They stare at her with their golden little eyes. Violet lifts up her shirt.
Don't look at
I'm
me
your
like that.
sister Violet. She collected Tian's scales and made this for me so that she could sew them to make a vest and keep me safe. Her sister's dragon is a green-tailed dragon.
Oh.
One of the green dragons shoves its giant nose up to her vest and gives it a good sniff.
They're just like giant puppies? Is
Yeah.
that what's going on?
The scales have saved me, but nobody knows they're in there. Just Mira and Tian. They both blink at her, and they slowly retreat back to their positions, and Violet is free to walk again. When they're a few paces away, Luca snorts. Honestly, I thought they were going to incinerate you, and I would have been all for it. Rydick grunts. Luca, you're intolerable. And boom, another blast of heat. Shit, please don't be Rydick. Please don't be Rydick. Then they keep walking. Rydick's voice booms. I guess the dragons find her insufferable, too.
Who? The annoying
Luca?
girl?
Luca died.
Ah.
It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. October 1st of
I shouldn't be that happy.
every
but I
single
am.
year is the day of the threshing, the day when dragons decide if the cadets who risk their lives for a few months straight are worthy of bonding with. And if you're not worthy, I don't know what's worse, to have to redo this whole year or to get incinerated by a dragon. I don't know. Anyway, you can just be killed by another cadet as well, just for pissing them off. They can take it out on you during threshing.
Okay. Threshing day is here. Let's see who Violet's bounce with.
There are no rules in threshing. Nobody can intervene. No general,
What is
no
threshing?
commander. Threshing, you go into a giant valley, and the dragons will come find you if they want to bond with you, or they can
Okay.
kill you, or you can kill each other. There's it
So
doesn't.
they have all these like random steps to go through, right? So is this the final step or is there more?
There's more. I will say, it's very soft magic in this world where I don't clearly understand. Because you know how certain worlds customs are done for specific reasons. I don't know why threshing they can't just line them up and the dragons be like that one.
Yeah.
Like there's no one told me why you guys can just kill each other
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
threshing when clearly they're lacking manpower on the battlefield. So you would think that a country or a kingdom would be more conservative with murder, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Don't ask me questions. I'm just here for the
Okay.
vibes. Each cadet is armed with a long sword, so it's like, you know, it's about to go down. They're enabling it. Professor K gives the cadets all in black with giant swords strapped onto their backs a few wise words of advice. If a dragon has already selected you to bond, they will call for you. But if you don't hear them, they may change their minds. It's not audible. It's more of a feeling. If your feeling tells you to go towards a dragon, do it. If it tells you to go away from one, I highly advise you do that too. The chances that a dragon chooses a rider by this point are lower than riders approaching dragons asking to be bonded. By this point, Violet's sister Mira already knew which dragon she wanted to approach, but for some reason, Violet doesn't feel any sort of specific pull towards one dragon or the other, which that alone is stressing her the fork out. She studied the species and the specific dragons of each one that's going to be at the threshing, but none of them are calling to her. Meanwhile, Riri seems to be intrigued by one of the green ones that approached Violet the day at the presentation, and now the threshing begins. Riri gives Violet a hug and they split up. The statistics are clear. Dragons do not like groups. Yeah. Perhaps you appear too weak, too scared to be on your own. They all just are supposed to run through the valley and find their dragon. But the first hour or so, Violet has come across at least every color of dragon. Every now and then she'll see a dragon and a rider shoot up to the sky, indicating that they've bonded. Or other times she'll see big puffs of smoke, indicating that a dragon just murdered a human. And then boom, Violet runs almost headfirst into a dragon. And something about it, she can feel it in her heart. This is not her dragon. She's not sure how or what that feeling is from, but she can feel it. She lowers her gaze and starts slowly moving backwards. The dragon gets in her face, gives her an angry huff, but then basically cacaws away out of there, okay? Very close call. And it's only stressing Violet out more. If you do not find a dragon by sunfall, you are unmatched. Violet decides to shift gears this time. She starts climbing up a tree. And she's like, maybe I get up on the tree and I look for the vibes. The vibe tells me to go this way, I go that way, right? She's a little compass. She scales the branches and she sees a few greens, nothing. She sees a red or two, nothing. I mean, nothing is calling for her. No one is calling for her. And then she sees a flash of yellow. Like when you walk by a mirror too quickly, and it's the
She's gonna
yellow
bond
dragon,
with the
golden
feather
one, the
tail.
feather tail. Violet keeps searching until her eyes fall on a group walking towards her, well, under her. And Violet is confused because you're not supposed to be in groups right now. And she sees 3 people in a group: Jack, Oren, and Tianan. Tianan is the guy from her own squad at the presentation where he talked about killing the golden feather tail. Remember? They're all
Oh my
hanging
god,
out.
they're trying to kill What a loser.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Tianan is like, I told
Why?
you I saw it go this way. Oren sounds the most hesitant. Are you sure this
Why
is
would
the
she
best way to
do
use our
that?
time right now? Don't we need to be finding our own dragons? What if they bond with... Jack cuts him off. Our fucking dragons are not going to bond with any of these losers. I'm just saying, if we get caught doing this, we're so screwed. Violet is so confused. How confident can they be to believe a dragon will bond with them after they kill one of their own? But
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, dragons are ruthless. Maybe
No,
they also
I
know
don't-
that the feather tail is weak. I don't know. Jack doesn't care. It doesn't fucking matter, okay? It's unwritable. It doesn't deserve to be here, and it should have thought again before showing up to threshing. Feathertails hate violence. They refuse to fight. Which, first of all, I don't know where Jack is getting this information because apparently Feathertails are the most mysterious of the dragons. They don't interact with humans. They barely ever
Yeah.
leave the Vale, which is where the dragons live inside of Navarre, remember? They don't typically bond with riders because they typically do not engage in combat, and maybe it's their small size. Maybe they hate violence. We don't know, okay? It's not up for them to decide. Violet realizes they're headed in the direction that she saw the golden feathertail go, which means she doesn't have much time right now. She can't just sit here and let them kill a feathertail, a dragon, just because they seem weak. They know nothing about the feather.
In Big Time, you
She
can collect
knows
Big Time
everything about the
cryptocurrency.
Feathertail.
It's real fun and easy. You can collect the Big Time token,
She's
battle
gonna bond with the
Feathertail to begin
Feathertail.
with. Violet goes full on Captain Save a Ho. Captain Save a Dragon. She jumps from the tree branch, almost breaks her ankle in the process, so that's great. And then on that injured ankle, she starts booking it towards the golden dragon. She sees it just standing alone in the opening of the woods, almost taking in the sun, alone, vulnerable, sunbathing. It's beautiful. But unless it suddenly becomes aggressive, homicidal, and breathes fire like a hibachi grill, it's gonna be bad news. Violet tries to slowly approach the dragon because, again, it could still kill humans. Violet whispers, "Psst. Get out of here. They're gonna try and kill you. Please leave." The golden dragon looks towards Violet and cocks its head. "Please leave. They're gonna hurt you. Go. Run. Now. Fly." The dragon is just staring at her, blinking, and the tail is moving, swishing back and forth like a little golden retriever. So great. Okay, great. They're all gonna die. Right at that moment, the three guys with the swords show up, and the golden dragon lets out a really, really weak, small, like a growl. And Jack smirks. It'll be over before you know it. The dragon does not scorch them. It does not fly away. It does nothing but back up and growl a little louder, but not much louder. It's gonna die, and Violet can't let it happen, so she gets up, reveals herself from her little hiding spot in the bushes, simultaneously grabbing two daggers and holding them out in front of her. Stop. But her appearance has only made Jack even more excited, more bloodthirsty. This is two birds, one stone for this guy. He almost laughs while waving his sword around, pointed at Violet and the golden feathertail. Violet is whispering to the dragon behind her, "Go, fly, now, run." You can't kill a dragon. Why not? A weak dragon will only be incapable of fighting and hurt us in the end. Well, I'm not gonna let you. There's a brief staring competition. Violet isn't dumb. She knows this is a death sentence. There's three of them at the same time. They have at least collectively over 200 pounds on her and swords, and they're better fighters, okay? Meanwhile, the golden feathertail is not flying away. Jack looks Violet up and down like she's a pathetic little speed bump. Perfect for us. The three guys lift their swords, and a booming voice from behind a tree. A figure comes out. I would strongly recommend everyone take a moment to rethink what you're about to do. Out from behind a tree comes Zayden, and behind him, a
Zayden.
giant blue
But they
dragon
cannot
with yellow
intervene.
eyes basically side-eyeing the three guys. It's his dragon, Sigale. For the first time ever, seeing Zayden gives Violet hope, not sheer terror or annoyance, but then she remembers the rules, the ones Dane told her over and over and over again. Whatever happens at threshing, happens at threshing. Nobody, including Violet's own mother, can interfere with what happens at threshing.
Why are you saying it like
The
that?
three guys. It's his dragon, Sigale. For the first time ever, seeing Zayden gives Violet hope, not sheer terror or annoyance, but then she remembers the rules, the ones Dane told her over and over and over again. Whatever happens at threshing, happens at threshing. Nobody, including Violet's own mother, can interfere with what happens at threshing. Okay? And if General Sorengale, one of the most powerful people in Navarre, can't do anything, then Zayden stands no chance. He can just watch. That's it. And it's pretty clear Jack studied the rules too.
but
There's
his
no bluffing
dragon
here.
can
He
do,
doesn't even
right?
turn to look at Zayden. He's focused on Violet and the golden dragon. And what if we've made our choice, Wingleader? There's nothing you can do to stop us, is there? It's not me that you'll have to worry about after this is all said and done. Everyone turns to Sigil, who's watching with hatred in her eyes. She can't stop them either right now because she's part of Zayden, but afterwards she can do whatever the fuck she wants to them.
The big dragon.
Yeah.
So the big dragon just go, oh, and
Yeah.
they're all dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why would they continue?
Yeah.
Right?
I guess they were hoping that they pair up with another dragon, and the dragon, and they're I don't know, okay? Violet tries to shout at the dragon behind her again. So we're not flying today? Goldie? Do you mind popping out a claw or two just for show then? The dragon makes a cute little, like, noise, and she looks down, and the dragon has
The
paws!
dragon is so cute. I would wanna protect the
Not
dragon.
claws, paws!
This is not a dragon.
It's my dog in a dragon costume. It's Mango in a dragon costume. Violet turns back in time just to see Jack screaming towards her with his sword up. She does not hesitate for once. And she throws her dagger and it lands deep inside Jack's shoulder. He hits the ground screaming. Then Orin and Tynan tag team her, just booking it, running towards her full force. She flings her second dagger at Tynan, cuts his thigh, but he's still running through the open wound. Great, the guy is like on bath salts or something. Tynan runs up to her, slices his sword against her stomach. It would have killed her, disemboweled her, but remember,
The scale.
dragon scale bash.
Vest.
Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's like a bulletproof vest. You're gonna have nasty, nasty bruises afterwards, but hopefully you don't die. Tynan is confused. Jack is screaming at them, now finish her! While he's scooting away, he's running. So there's that. Tynan tries again, but the sword does nothing. Violet digs her dagger into his side, and while he's dazed, she goes in for Orin, elbowing him in the face, and just like WWE that like, really now? We got dragons, and we're still going full Dana White on these people? Come on now. We can do better. But while she's focused on Orin, Tynan uses his sword to slice Violet's arm open, and she screams, grabs her arm, and Orin is about to cut off her head, but she feels multiple things step forward, like peripheral vision. The golden feather tail bares all its teeth. Orin drops the sword and scoots back, giving Violet the chance to use the blunt part of her dagger to basically pistol whip the guy and knock his
what did
ass out.
golden do?
Just growled, showing its teeth.
Oh.
Yeah, and now
That
Tynan
scared-
gets back up and he's
that
pissed.
scared,
Meanwhile,
the
Zayden is
guy.
giving Violet instructions on how to fight. You're breaking the rules, wing leader. I'm not interfering, I'm just narrating. Interesting. Violet has no idea why Zayden suddenly cares if she lives or dies. Or maybe he's just protecting the golden dragon. I don't know. She glances over, and that makes sense because Sigil, his dragon, looks pissed off that someone tried to kill another dragon, and she's got a death glare on Tynan. Now, Tynan is bloodied, but he spits at Violet. Your arm is shot, Sorengale. Are you ready to bleed out? You thought because I didn't aim for your heart, I didn't think? I know where I cut you. You're gonna bleed out unless you get to a healer. So run off, and I'm gonna give you a chance. Violet knows she can't because the golden dragon will die.
It's like the feeling is like it's kind of high stake, but not that high stake because there's so many people watching this.
Yeah.
There's a dragon behind her. Like, you know, I feel like nothing's gonna happen.
I will say it's definitely a comfort fantasy, like a cozy fantasy.
It's not that dangerous.
It's not that high
it is.
stakes, you know, it's just like, it's like the first book of Harry Potter. Like, we're just fucking around at Hogwarts.
Yeah. Come on, this golden doodle's gotta do something,
The
right?
golden doodle's got. Tynan grabs his sword with both hands and he's about to go for the
His
killing
name's
blow when he
Goldie.
steps forward and a gust of wind slams him back on the ground and the sword is flung from his hands.
Okay.
She looks and she sees Zayden step forward, but then he flies away with Sigil.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what
she
what
looks
exactly
like-
just happened? I'm so sorry.
He
What-
drops his sword because there's a huge gust of wind. And
Oh.
she sees
Okay.
briefly Zayden step forward, and then he flies off, and there's just a giant black dragon standing over them. The
Wait,
black
what?
dragon has come
Oh.
Standing where?
over them, right next to them.
And Zayden just flew away?
Yeah.
Why?
Okay,
We'll
because
find out.
Zayden doesn't need to interfere anymore. But who's she gonna bond with? I thought since the Feather Tail is coming up again and again, she was gonna bond with Feather Tail. But now we have the Black Dragon as well. If the Black Dragon is that important, why is the Feather Tail there?
Later.
Oh. How big is a black dragon?
Violet comes up to the black dragon's ankle. It's like triple the size of all the other dragons.
Really? So
Yeah.
it's like 25 times
Yeah, yeah,
3,
yeah, he
75
is.
feet
He is
tall?
the strongest,
It's like a
right?
mountain. And then there's the golden dragon still there?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
What?
It's golden dragon's boyfriend.
Whoa. That's a weird size difference. No.
Dad? Daddy?
Daddy? The only other black dragon other than.
Oh
No.
Dad, boyfriend.
Whoa. That's a weird size difference. No.
Dad? Daddy?
Daddy? The only other black dragon other than General Melgrens has arrived. Step aside, Silver One. It's a deep male voice. Violet hesitates for a second. Did the dragon just talk to her? Dragons don't talk to humans unless. Yes, you, Silver One. Move. Violet limps to the side and a scorching hot flame shoots out, incinerates Tynan, and the dragon
What do
turns
you
to
mean
her.
unless?
Oh shit, she's next, okay? The eyes are the size of a giant window just studying Violet. I advise you to end the unconscious one. Violet stares down at Oren, who's knocked out. She shakes her head. She thinks about it, but she doesn't say it out loud. She can't kill someone who's unconscious.
Wait. Oh, sorry. To get it straight, is the black one trying to bond with her right now?
No.
Oh.
Giving her advice, kill that one. Kill Oren.
But why did she say she can't hear dragons unless?
They bond with her.
Yeah, so the black one's bounding with
Oh,
her.
bonding. I thought you said battling. Yeah, bonding.
Are they bounded already?
No, she doesn't know. She's confused.
Oh.
Ah.
The black one tells her, you know he would kill you in a heartbeat. But I'm
So
not,
we're
I'm
gonna
not
bond
him.
with the black one.
The dragon
Okay.
doesn't break eye contact from Violet. So like, are we a thing? Okay? The dragon and
Wait. So I think the reason why the feather tail is so important to the story is because of the feather tail, the black one decided to come to the field. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come, and he wouldn't have bonded with Violet then. So I think that's why the feather tail is, because I was confused, because if she is supposed to bond with the black dragon, then what is the use of the whole feather tail thing? But now it makes sense.
instructs her to stop bleeding. Which, yeah, a great suggestion if I could. Violet's like, oh yeah, I could. She rips up her shirt and wraps it around and makes a makeshift wrap for her wound. The dragon looks at her and they're just staring at each other. The dragon does not open its mouth or move its lips, but it starts speaking to Violet. Let's go, Violet Sorengale.
Okay.
It itches her! Get on my back. Yeah, okay, that's the easy part, isn't it? She couldn't climb a chimney without extra help. How the hell is she gonna climb up a dragon's back? She tries to scale the dragon, but it doesn't work. And instead of deeming her not worthy, it helps her onto his back.
Wait, where's the golden doodle?
Still there. And then she's like, wait, the golden doodle. I can't just leave him. What if Jack or Oren wakes back up? The black dragon nods, and the gold one, it launches into flight. It flies.
What?
That would have been great an hour ago. Okay, wouldn't have it. And the two lift into flight. The black dragon telepathically tells her, my name is Tyrnianak, descended from the cunning Demadin line, but Tyrn will do for now.
Tiern?
Tyrn. There's no time to even process any of that because Violet is about to fall off the dragon. There's barely a place to grip and sit on the dragon. And it's not like a horse with a saddle. You're just holding onto some dragon's feathers, hoping that the dragon doesn't get pissed off or the feathers don't shed, okay? Even if you bond with the dragon, they will test you as a rider. As they fly out of the threshing, they will do spins. They'll fly at their fastest speed because bonding with a human that cannot keep up with you is a liability for the dragon, but also an insult. If the human falls off, they fall to their death. And just like that, Violet loses her grip and she's in free fall, falling off Tyrn. But as Violet accepts death, her body gets jerked upwards and she hears the words, stop it, you're making us look bad. She's in Tyrn's claw now, and he helps her back onto his back, which again, this is wild. No dragon ever does this because she has never dies syndrome, okay? He is one of the deadliest dragons in all of Navarre, and she can't even stay on his back. Clearly, she does not deserve to be bonded with him, and he's been so picky, refusing to bond with anyone since his previous rider died. He hasn't even been seen in the past 5 years by a human. But he tells her, hold on this time, or else nobody will believe that I made the choice to bond with you. Did you not practice? Of course I practice, but it's really not that easy, okay? Do you know how large you are? I'm not strong like some of the other riders. I know exactly what you are, Violet Sorengale. And in that moment, she feels her muscles lock up. He's locked her in place so that she does not fall off. And that just makes her feel even more guilty. Tyrion is using his energy and powers to keep her from falling off.
Embarrassing.
Violet looks around. Other dragons are doing 365 turns in the air, like those fighter jets, but cooler, obviously. And a rider screams and falls off. The dragon does not save her, like Tyrion saves Violet. Tyrion tells her to hold on, or at least pretend to, because they end up putting on a show for everyone to make it seem like, Tyrion willingly chose Violet. He's like whipping through the air, just doing all that crazy shit.
Showing
And they're
off.
about to descend onto the massive field where all the other bonded dragons and their riders have landed. All the first years have bonded, and there's a group of scribes keeping track of who bonded with which dragon, and Violet's mom is in the crowd, along with other powerful generals. Violet needs to know before they land, though, because once they land, she doesn't know if she can talk to Tyrion. Why did you choose me? You saved her. He cocks his head, and Violet turns around to see the little golden doodle struggling to fly as fast as Tyrion, keeping up. But dragons don't care for that. They care for strength and cunning. Are you telling me what I care for right now? You are the most cunning of your year. You defend the smallest with ferocity and bravery. Courage is the most important thing, more than physical strength.
Okay.
Dang, why am I getting emotional?
Violet realizes right before they land, though, that she never asked the why me question out loud. She had only thought it.
So they're connected.
They're in each other's minds. They're bonded, which means she also has no more privacy. And she hears Tyrion tell her, "You will never be alone again." Which is great, but also kind of sounds like a threat. So they land, and the whole field is pretty quiet because
Wait, hold on. Do we know what's going on with the golden doodle?
we're about to find out.
Got it, okay.
Everyone is first in awe of the black
Husband Mango Butt is getting
dragon. Seeing one up close and personal, even the professors look shocked. Tyrion wasn't supposed to be here today. Then everyone stares at Violet. How the hell? Right as Violet hops off Tyrion, she has to go tell the roll keepers Tyrion's first name, like full name, Tyrion Yanak. That's how you seal the bond. The golden dragon lands right next to Tyrion under his wing, and Violet says out loud, "I'm glad you're fine, but next time you could just fly when you're in danger, that'd be great, yeah?" But in her head, she hears a high-pitched, sweet voice. "Perhaps I stayed for you." Violet looks confused and concerned.
Violet got double dragons?
She tries to tell the dragon, "Please, you're not allowed to talk to humans that are not your rider. You're gonna get in trouble." The dragon cocks her head at Violet and lets her walk off to the roll keeper. Everyone is quiet as Violet walks. Even her mom is staring at her. No concern for her well-being, nothing. Honestly, her eyes look more suspicious than anything. Doubt. She's practically doubting how Violet was able to get Tyrion bonded with her. Even General Melgren, the commanding general of the Navarians, the only one above Lilith Sorengale, her mom, is staring at Tyrion, assessing the situation. The roll keeper stares at the black dragon, then back at Violet, then back at the black dragon, and then gulps. "Please tell me the name of the dragon who chose you." "Tyrion Yanak." The roll keeper smiles and whispers, "I can't believe he chose you. He's such a legend." Violet gives a short smile before another voice fills her head. "Andarna." Violet turns her head over to the black and gold dragons sitting next to each other, staring at her. "Tell her we bonded, please." Violet stares at Tyrion. "Tyrion, what do I tell her?" The roll keeper is staring at Violet. "Do you need a mender or a healer? Are you okay?" And Darna. And everyone stops. It's quiet.
Oh my god!
Both or both? And all hell breaks loose.
What is going on?
And that is where I leave you.
Wait, you can't.
No!
What's going on?
She's bonded with two dragons.
You're not gonna tell me what.
I already knew that we're about to end, but no, you can't do that.
All hell breaks loose.
What is going on?
And that is where I leave you.
No.
Wait, you can't. What's going on?
She's bonded with two dragons.
Mr. Mango Butt and me as well. We were just getting started. I can't even talk. We were just getting excited. Like, what the hell? Stephanie, please.
Dragons.
You're not gonna tell me what's the situation?
She's bonded with two dragons.
But why?
Just look at
Both chose
her.
her.
You can do that?
It's up to the dragon. Dragons be choosing.
But the big one allowed, the black one allowed the golden doodle to do this?
It seems like the black one seems very protective of the golden one for some reason. Like a daddy.
Like a daddy.
Like a daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, you're about to find out.
That's
It's
kind
about
of
to
like
get crazy.
cheating. But okay.
So,
But you're gonna tell us later?
yes, it's not like that climactic.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a
Okay.
crazy cliffhanger, guys.
But still, that's kind of cheating, no?
Yeah. But guys, stay tuned for next week's part 3 of Fourth Wing. Let me know in the comments. Have you read the second book? Are you guys waiting on the third book that's yet to come out? Let me know, and I will see you
No.
guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. But I've not read any book. I only read some part. But that is all. Okay. It was amazing. I was really excited for it, and I'm happy I watched it. And it's also getting very late. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.